Welcome back to the association. The 2025-26 NBA regular season is history. All 30 teams, 82 games in the books. And now we know what the postseason bracket officially looks like. We got our matchups for both the SoFi play-in tournament and all of the seedings 1 through 6 locked up in the East and the West. Sean Little, Katie Heindel, Jason Zone Fisher with you. Sean, Katie, let's take a look at the schedule because I got to start planning my life around these games that are coming up here. The first round schedule is set. Now, after the SoFi play-in tournament takes care of itself, this is what it's going to look like when the playoffs officially get underway next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Clear your schedules. I love the first round of the playoffs because we got this. We got 4 games every day. All of these great battles and matchups, and we're going to get some upsets. As you look at this, obviously, in some of these series, there's going to be a clear favorite, and others it might be a bit more of a toss-up. But who do you think is most likely to potentially, let's say, get upset? Or let me even just pose it this way. Who's most vulnerable of losing a game 1 at home? Sean?
Losing a game 1 at home, that's tough. I would say, should I take the cop out, Katie, and take the Lakers? Is that a cop out?
It's not a cop out.
I think that is obviously because they're dealing with the injuries. But I'm sincerely going back to the Hawks, man. I think they can make a lot of noise and put the Knicks under a good amount of pressure. The Knicks have shown up in the fourth quarter all year long. You don't want to have to play with fire like that in the playoffs. I think I'll go with the Atlanta Hawks. I think they can really put some pressure on the Knicks.
Okay, now, Katie, obviously we don't know all the full matchups for the slate a week from today because those will involve the 7 and 8 seeds, the play-in tournament teams that we talked about. But looking at this and what those matchups could be, who do you think might have the easiest path in the first round? A team that they're not going to have trouble advancing to round 2.
I mean, the obvious answers seem like the Celtics, the Thunder, the Pistons, Spurs, obviously. So I'm gonna not do some obvious answers. I wonder. I've maybe talked myself into this in the last 20 seconds, but I am now looking at the Lakers Houston matchup. And Sean, I don't think it's a cop out because I do actually wonder if the Rockets can kind of give themselves enough momentum. Are they able to take the Lakers, which, can be a pretty volatile postseason team in a way, and I think can also really
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we are talking about the NBA playoffs. The regular season is history. All 30 teams, 82 games in the books. The postseason bracket is officially set. We have our first round matchups, and the analysts on NBA Game Time are making their predictions. The Hawks and the Knicks. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves. The Rockets and the Lakers. Let me break down what they are saying. The first round schedule is set. After the play-in tournament takes care of itself, the playoffs will officially get underway next weekend. 4 games every day. Great battles, great matchups. And we are going to get some upsets. The question is, who is most vulnerable to losing a game 1 at home? Sean says losing a game 1 at home is tough. He asks if it is a cop-out to take the Lakers. Katie says it is not a cop-out. It is obvious because the Lakers are dealing with injuries. But she is sincerely going back to the Hawks. She thinks the Hawks can make a lot of noise and put the Knicks under a good amount of pressure. The Knicks have shown up in the fourth quarter all year long. You do not want to have to play with fire like that in the playoffs. She is going with the Atlanta Hawks. She thinks they could really put some pressure on the Knicks. Then the analysts looked at who has the easiest path in the first round. Katie says the obvious answers are the Celtics, the Thunder, the Pistons, the Spurs. But she is not going to do obvious answers. She is now looking at the Lakers and Rockets matchup. She does not think it is a cop-out. She actually wonders if the Rockets can kind of give themselves enough momentum. Are they able to take the Lakers, which can be a pretty volatile postseason team? She thinks the Rockets can really let a young team get under the Lakers' skin if they do not get a handle on things early. She wonders if we will see an upset there. Jason then brings up the Thunder fans. They are very happy that if the Thunder are able to take care of business in the first round, They will not have to face the Denver Nuggets in the second round. Instead, they will face the winner of the Lakers or Rockets. And on the other side of the bracket, we could see a Denver versus San Antonio second-round matchup. That could be a big deal. And if Houston is able to upset the Lakers, that would prove to be a very intriguing second-round matchup with Kevin Durant going back to Oklahoma City, where it is going to be loud. So many great storylines. Sean says what Jason said about Oklahoma City is bang on. He was clamoring for the Clippers to at least see the Thunder in the first round and give them a little trouble. Because if the Thunder see the Suns or Portland, it is a very, very easy first round for them. And then they get a banged-up Lakers, or a team in the Houston Rockets that is a flat-out very good matchup for them because of how they play defensively. They can cover off on a lot of different guys and throw a lot of different guys. At Reed Shepherd, who is going to be asked to do a lot and has not had to do that in the playoffs. And Kevin Durant is going to have to deal with a lot of guys as well. He thinks that is a dream scenario for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They could gear up because the Spurs are the big squad on their mind. The Oklahoma City Thunder right now are gearing up to have a smooth road to at least the conference finals. A lot of that was determined by what happened with the Denver Nuggets getting a win over the San Antonio Spurs to secure the 3 seed and be on that bottom half of the bracket. Katie says she is kind of torn between the Cavs and maybe the Pistons. She hesitates to put too much weight behind the Pistons just because this is their first time in the playoffs in such a long time. She thinks a team that just gets to coast, that does not get rattled a little bit early on in the playoffs, does not always bode well. You need a little bit of a stress test. So, she is curious to see where that comes from for both of the number 1 seeds in both conferences. But in terms of an easier path, maybe the Knicks, maybe the Cavs. Sean says honestly, he is most excited if we could get a first-round matchup of Thunder versus Clippers. If we can get the Clippers to win 2 in a row and get out of the play-in, that would be a really, really fun series. He talked about the Lakers dealing with injuries. If we are not going to get a full-strength Lakers with Luka and Austin, that series loses a little bit of luster. Denver offensively, if Anthony Edwards is not 100%, it is just going to overwhelm Minnesota on that side of the rock. Then when they talk about the Thunder, let us put them through the gauntlet and start that with the Clippers. That would be an awesome, awesome start to the West playoffs. If they have to go through the Clippers, and then start talking about them potentially going through some of the top 3, top 4 squads in the West, that would be a fun way to start the playoffs. Katie says she is kind of patiently waiting for the Spurs' first series. She is waiting for the Spurs to go head-to-head. She piggybacks on what Sean said. There is something about a team getting the first crack at taking some shine off the Thunder. So, if the Clippers can do something like that, at least for a couple games, that is obviously going to be a lot of fun. She says looking at these standings, in her head for the longest time she thought the West is pretty clear, pretty solid compared to the East, which has been so volatile for so much of the season. But in the East, all that jockeying has given us a much more fulsome sense of those teams and what they are capable of and where they might be able to pull out some surprises. She does not feel that way looking at the West. She thinks there might be some sleeping giants. There might be some teams that are going to be taken down a notch. She is kind of curious to see if there is an upset. She loves chaotic basketball. Jason says looking back the last couple postseasons, most people did not anticipate the Minnesota Timberwolves making back-to-back conference finals. Out east just last year, what the Indiana Pacers were able to do. Prior to that, the Atlanta Hawks going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Who is going to be the surprise team? We are focused so much on the defending champs and the Spurs, maybe the Nuggets. Maybe there is another team who is going to surprise a lot of people when the postseason gets underway. Sean goes back to what he said at the top of the show. The Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. He thinks that is a very, very enthralling matchup. We expected the Knicks to be a top 3 team in the East. They were able to get that done. We expected them when they made the change from Tom Thibodeau and moved on that they are now expected to be in the finals, or at the very least make a repeat appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, the question now is, are they going to be able to do that against a team in the Atlanta Hawks that you can maybe say has been one of the best teams in the league the last 6 weeks? That is the most interesting matchup. All the storylines included. No Trae Young in the building. They have now moved on and they look better without him. That was the question. It is now coming to fruition. They have a lot of guys that can deal with Jalen Brunson, even though he scored 30+ against them multiple times this year. They have a lot of different guys they could throw at Jalen Brunson late in the fourth quarter because we know the Knicks have been magic in the fourth quarter. Who is going to help out Jalen Brunson in that fourth? We saw what Josh Hart has been doing on the three-point line. Can Karl Anthony Towns do it? He thinks this matchup has it all and it goes 6 or 7 games. So here is my question to you in the comments. Who wins the Hawks versus Knicks series? Can the Rockets upset the Lakers? And who is your surprise team in the playoffs? Let me know. I read every single comment. As always, like, subscribe, hit that bell. We are building something special here. I will see you in the next one.